Hello and welcome to this video. This will be the third episode of the Modern Classics series, and in fact this is really compared to the others, rather new game. It's from 2009, from the Biel Grandmaster Tournament, and we've got the matchup between Alexander Morozevich and Morozevich-Vachier Lagrave from France. And this is really a breathtaking game. If you don't know it, you're in for a treat. I really remember when I first saw this game that I absolutely didn't believe this was really played, because it's so extraordinary what happened here. In fact, this game also gives me a problem in a way, because because I want to present it because it simply belongs into this series. But the problem is that it's a rather long game and it's super complicated, so it's not so easy to judge what kind of variations to show and what kind of stuff to do in a more brief fashion, so that this video won't be 2 hours long. So once in a while it's just good to look at the game and take it for its aesthetical sort of value. And I'm not trying to understand each line to the last move and so on. Just take it as it was played and enjoy it. So I might as well leave 1 or 2 variations out of this video. If you want to dig deeper, then feel free to do so. It's certainly rewarding. Alright, so let's start. It's 1e4. Yeah, Moro plays all kinds of openings here. In fact, we've got a sharp main line in the Sicilian. And it's Najdorf, which I recently made a video on, 30-minute video overview of the Najdorf in this Openings Uncovered series. Here Morozevich goes for f3, e6, bishop e3. So this is the introduction to the English attack, the so-called English attack, because of the huge success that various English players like Nunn, Short, Murray Chandler had in the early 80s. And it's still one of the absolute main lines of the Najdorf. So White's idea is to set up this g4 advance with f3. And one difference to lots of other lines in the Najdorf is that this f3 move protects e4 really in a very reliable way. So Black doesn't have quick counterplay against this e4 pawn, which often happens if White goes f4. So White has some free hand with play on the flanks, as we see here. Really quick g4. Black invests 1 move to play h6, preventing the immediate g5. Of course, this is always debatable because it also weakens squares, especially g6. You'll see that later in the game. It really is a weakness, this g6 square. Long castle. And b4. Yeah, Black has various alternatives. I think he can also play bishop b7 instead. But I don't want to get into detailed opening discussion here, because the game is so complicated later. Queen c7. Yeah, here I think theoretically White could take the pawn, but he prefers to get some active moves going. So he plays h4. Yeah, preparing h5. G5 of course. And one idea is also to get this move bishop h3 in, to look at the e6 pawn, like g5, and then sacrificing on e6. Yeah, Black plays d5 now, counterplay in the center. And this is the first important position of this game, because it's a major parting of the ways, and White now really plays the first spectacular move. How to judge this position? Black's king is in the center. This is the main point here. He hasn't yet moved this bishop and prepared castling. The question is also if castling really helps much, because g5 is very quick. So it's really a very concrete battle now between white's play in the center and the king side, with black's king being in the middle, and black's play on the queen side. He can sometimes increase pressure here or get a knight here. Probably more likely the route will be from e5, not from b6. And so it's very sharp. And now Morozevich plays knight f4, which is quite funny, because it immediately it just walks into this fork. But it has a very concrete idea. Of course, white wants to smash on e6, so it's very difficult for black to not play e5 now. And this was a novelty at this point, so Lagrave really had to solve this now. He writes in his annotations that he had something prepared, but he forgot it and needed to find it all over again. At the end, he played e5 and really set up this fork, winning a piece. If black doesn't do that, it could go like this. Let's say black takes on e4, then white would sacrifice on e6. Don't want to analyze this super deeply, just show what kind of position we would get. Knight f8, and here probably knight recaptures. It's very hard to tell. And now something like this, something like this, and now white will have threats here, bishop to c4, probably sometimes even to b5, and rook e1. So black's king is wide open in the middle, and white has pretty clear compensation. It's really hard to tell. White has, at least in a practical game, I would take white here any day, because he simply has the more concrete threats here in the center against the king. So he decided at the end to play e5. Yeah, of course, white's idea was to get a knight to e6, so there's no way back. Knight to e6. And yeah, the first piece sacrifice. Black takes it, of course. Knight takes and queen a5. This is really the only move. You need to get some counterplay here against a2 and then the king. If black captures on a2, there's immediate counterplay with queen a1. In some instances, even threatening checkmate. So black needs to get some play on his own. Yeah, queen a5, and now simply e takes d5. White takes, and this has various ideas. One idea is to get a piece to g6. This is what I mentioned before. This h6 move really weakens g6. So if white would get a queen to g6, this would be yeah, probably fatal for black. Or bishop on e6, on g6 could also be very nice. But the queen is really the piece that wants to go there. We see this immediately. Black now took on a2, and queen to d3 was the reply, intending this check. Yeah, and this is a super important position here, where now black made a mistake. But of course, this to play this over the board is obviously super difficult. He played the move king f7, which doesn't look illogical or something. It's a pretty yeah, plausible move, covering the g6 square to prevent queen g6. But this is this entire position is of course simply a matter of calculation, and it's very difficult. We can look at a couple of alternatives simply because they're very interesting to look at. What else could black play? Let's say he would play king e7. Let's start with this, sort of moving the king before this check is coming, or maybe trying to even escape here. Then white has the winning move d6, and this is really yeah, immediately winning. King here is answered by queen c4, And this is really funny. You need to take now, and all these pieces, all these squares are covered. So black needs to play this desperado here, which even loses the rook in the corner. So white simply wins with yeah, an exchange up and a winning attack and everything at all at once. So you cannot really take this. So what else? You need to go here, but this is in fact quite similar. Just play queen c4. This is really a strong resource. Black needs to exchange, and now you threaten all kinds of discoveries. If king to g6, then white has the strong continuation h5, king h7, and g5, and there's nothing that black can do. You threaten g6 with mate to come, and the knight is hanging. If you take here, this is also also simply lost. Probably maybe you've got something better even. King h6. Maybe something like this is even stronger. So black is really just losing. King e7 loses the game with d6. Queen c4 is the key there. Yeah, what should black play? Actually, he has only one. Yeah, he has maybe two playable moves. Another playable move is the move e4, which is rather typical, trying to block this diagonal with e4. White will probably answer queen d4. This seems to be the strongest reply. Taking is not really too great, because if you would take, black has this strong move, and he will even possibly have the chance to take this e6 knight. This would help enormously. And there's also queen a1. So this is really stupid. Need to go to d4. And this is quite interesting now. Probably this is playable for black, but it's tricky. Let's say bishop d6, bishop to c4. And yeah, here black must play this move. It's a bit strange looking, but you need to go there. If you would go here, you have your queen trapped. It's not entirely clear. In fact, this variation can continue. Queen a1 and bishop e5. White's queen hasn't got any squares as well, but b3 seems to be better. Okay, let's just accept it for the moment, that this is better. And then after some move like f4, this is really a mess. White yeah, has sacrificed a piece, and he's got all kinds of active pieces, but yeah, it's super difficult to judge this position. Let's say something like this here. How would you assess this? Really difficult in a practical game. This one is hanging, and where should the king go? White's king is also not yeah, not super safe, safely tucked away somewhere, but black doesn't have any attacking pieces, and this white certainly has. Can push all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it's very tricky. Probably the best move is in this position, or would have been, bishop to b7. And this is very tricky. White has two principal ideas. He can give this check on g6, queen g6, check, or he can play g5. Both are interesting. Let's say queen g6 check. This looks like the most normal move. King e7, d6 check, king e6, and bishop h3. This is the kind of move where you at first think, okay, that g5 is a deadly threat here. Black's king looks really in miserable shape, but black can save himself with check. king here, and now simply back to a5. This check has made this pawn unprotected, so if white now would play g5, black can simply take it. It still looks looks a bit precarious in the center, but there's no direct win anymore. So what white should probably play is to just return and now threaten g5 with mate again, so that black is forced to give this check again, and we have a perpetual, funny enough. So queen g6 seems to lead to a draw. What white could do is he could, after bishop b7, he could play g5, and this is very complicated. Black would answer e4 probably, and then it can continue with various lines, queen d4, or even queen or even knight c7 is an idea. I don't want to get into this too deeply. It's probably unclear, this position. It's I know, unclear. It's the kind of assessment you give if you don't have enough time. But simply I don't want to make this video like 2 hours long. Black really should play bishop b7 in this position, or e4. Both are interesting. The king f7 move that he played probably loses. I say probably because well, this is just so insanely complex that you can easily misjudge something. Morozevich now played g5, which seems to be the best move. Knight to d8
check.
Also is a move that you need to calculate, but it doesn't seem to lead to much. Black can play here,
check.
Knight c6 check, and even run to d6. And it's quite funny. Black can really advance with the king. Here, knight takes b4 isn't good because of check and queen takes, and that's really white didn't make any progress here. This knight check simply isn't the best move. What Moro played here, g5, is perfectly alright. Yeah, black now took on d5, and here white needs to find a good move, otherwise this attack simply leads to nothing. He played the very strong move bishop h3, and this, oops, this wasn't planned. I just wanted to paint the screen. This knight is of course the key attacker here, and white simply covers this important piece. And the threats are multiple. Something like this is the possibility now, and of course this kind of idea with knight d8 is strengthened now. Yeah, what should black do? After king f7, which as mentioned really it was a mistake, black is probably lost in this position, but it's not at all easy, and we see this game has got many twists and turns. What black played now is he took on e3. It certainly makes sense to liquidate one attacker. An alternative which he calculated was this move, trying to get rid of the knight, but this doesn't seem to work. The problem is, and this is really a cool line, he saw this in the game.
Check.
The black player, I mostly rely on his annotations, and he saw this line during the game, which is remarkable. King to g8, king to e8 doesn't help because of queen g6. So here white takes, and here the really strong move is bishop f1, and he saw this in the game. This I think is remarkable. Bishop f1 is super strong. The idea is queen c4. The queen exchange, in fact, is very strong here because white still has an excellent attack even with queens off. In fact, black is probably close to lost in this position. At least he will lose the exchange, I give you just one sample line. Let's say bishop somewhere, attacking this knight.
Check.
Then you've got something like this
Check.
coming, and black will lose the exchange. He cannot really go here, as as this is even worse, attacking d7 and g8. Black will lose material here, and if he plays something else, let's say let's say this move. This is quite tricky.
Check.
This kind of move, but here white will have a really strong attack. The problem is simply you have this instant threat here, checkmate, and the problem is simply this rook on h8 doesn't play at all. White's attack will be decisive. I think it's really remarkable that he saw this bishop f1 move, very strong. So black cannot play this move, which he had intended before, and then took on e3. So what now? White gave this check, which is the strongest move. And now king e7, which seems best. King e8, looking a bit strange, but you need to calculate really all moves in these kind of positions. White can take with check. King d8. And believe me, it's not so easy to kill this. At first it looks like insane for black, but it's not that you can win super easily. The best move seems to be bishop takes c8. And after king takes, it's easy.
Check. Check.
And white will win. Something like this.
Check.
Will lead to a mate, I guess. Yeah.
Check.
Exactly. Yeah. This is over. You can also simply take the rook and still have a mating attack. So after bishop takes, black in fact needs to play this funny move, and this is answered by, I guess, bishop e6, right? Bishop e6, yeah. And this should win for white. You get this back and have a strong attack to boot. Something like this. Yeah, you even I don't have an extra pawn, but this is simply too much. The king in the middle, and you've got really a strong attack with opposite colored bishops. The white squares are terrible, so white should win here. This means, oops, sorry, I hit the wrong button there. This means that after the check on d8, this is the game position. Yeah, you can easily get your head a bit dizzy in this game. This is the game position. So black went to e7, which is better. Poses more problems. Winning, it's still lost, yeah, but it poses more problems. Knight c6 check. This is good. King f7. And here's the first position where white missed a concrete win. But this is such a weird move that it's not weird, but it's not at all easy to find. And the point that you need to see is simply amazing. So not much to blame. What Morozevich played is g6. Let's tell this first. And this is a strong move which probably wins the game. But he could have played the amazing move bishop to e6 check. And this is simply beautiful, giving this check. Note that there's a queen on a2, so black has two possibilities to take this. It's a double attack in a way, but black needs to take it. And you've got a simple line, queen e6, knight e8 is rather simple, forking, and this kind of stuff is just winning for white. At first you might think, okay, you've got 3 pieces for the queen, but this king is you won't survive this, because the pieces don't coordinate at all. White has this kind of attacking ideas. This rook's then hanging. White is winning. And this was not certainly what Morozevich saw, what made him consider a different move. The problem is, of course, king takes. And yeah, this continues. Queen g6 check. This is easy. You certainly saw that. Knight f6, the only move, takes. Yeah, now white takes, threatens all kinds of stuff. So black needs to recapture. Queen e8 check. King f5. And maybe he calculated up to this point, or even a bit further. But there's a move which can easily be missed. Knight d4 is the first tricky move. I guess he still saw that. But then you might see, okay, king f4. How do I continue now? And this is really cool. The king of on f4. How do you continue now? And in fact, there is a win, but it's not at all easy here. And here white has a beautiful finishing move. And this is rook to d4. Yeah, this is one of those fantastic moves that you hardly can see in advance. The idea is, if black takes, simply just like it was with the knight, then there's simply
checkmate.
Queen e4 mate, very nice. So you cannot take this rook, but white also has a direct threat, and this is knight g3 checkmate. And black simply has no defense. But this is a move what human player, it's simply unbelievable if you would see this beforehand. And I guess this is what he overlooked, because you can easily get to the conclusion that you have, white has sacrificed 2 pieces, and sometimes in those positions it is simply a draw, because you don't have enough firepower left to win it. Also, black has counterplay now, with queen a1 at least. So you need to do something dramatic here, but probably he didn't see this. So bishop e6 was the win here, which he didn't see. But well, what he played, g6, also wins the game. But it's simply longer and not as concrete. But I don't see any human player playing bishop e6 really. It's easy if you sit there with a computer, but it's entirely different in an actual game. Note that if black would advance to f6, then it's also considerably easier now. Black will get mated. Very nice. All pieces help. Very nice mate. So black cannot advance with the king. He really needs to go to g8. And this certainly was Morozevich's idea. In this position, white only needs to get in some check on this diagonal, and it's really checkmate, yeah? It's really close to checkmate. So he certainly had this in mind. And if you look what's happening now, you see that he judged this correctly. It is winning. The other continuation only would have been quicker. So queen takes e3 here, and black plays bishop to c5. There's not much else really. You need to get your stuff out. And here played queen to e4, which is strong. There was an alternative which also won. Again, bishop e6, but also not at all easy to see. The easy part is to see this here, queen e6, queen c5. I guess this he saw pretty quickly, as knight c5, rook d8 is again a checkmate. Note that this pawn is really a monster. He certainly saw this, but the problem is to continue after a move like bishop to b7. How do you continue here? In fact, knight e7 check, king f8. rook d7 wins, and probably he overlooked something in this line. King g8 back, check, and now rook d1. Probably some of these moves he didn't see. But okay, what he played is still winning. This is not queen e4 is a good human move, and it is winning. So it doesn't make much sense to do long criticism on this. You can be glad that you find some win in this position because it's so complicated. Okay, knight f8 was played. You need to lend some support to the king, and especially cover e6 to make sure that there's no deadly check coming. Rook to d8, strong, pinning the knight and getting these mating ideas into play. And black played bishop b7 now. There's not much else. Okay, now Morozevich took on a8. Here he had a good alternative, and in fact a winning alternative. I think this is the only spot here in the game where I think you really must find this, because it's not really really difficult. He could take on f8 here. Check. This would win. The point is, if black takes with the bishop, then there's simply queen e5, and as mentioned, this threat is immensely strong. There's simply no way to defend this. Bishop c8, white has queen to e8, and this is winning. Knight e7 is the mate threat. So this is, for a player of Morozevich class, relatively easy to see. I'm not quite sure what he missed. The other recaptures are not much, are not better in any way. Let's say rook takes, can also simply take and threaten this bishop e6. It's simply over. It's also something like this is winning with knight e7 coming. This king is dead with the buried rook here on h8. So taking on f8 was really a relatively simple win. But he took on a8. It's still winning, but it gets more and more difficult. But okay, the defensive idea that now black put up is also out of this world. So bishop takes, and now Moro played h5. So what he did here is basically playing it in a, let's say, in a sort of positional way. He set up these two pawns, and these two pawns kill this rook on h8. And in combination with this bishop, also this knight is basically dead. So it's very, very difficult still for black, and probably still lost. h5 is very strong. Yeah, and now Vachier-Lagrave comes up with an amazing defensive concept. He simply he just saw, okay, I need to get rid of this mating idea. It's still a mate if there's a check coming, at least a queen check, mate on f7. I need to get rid of this, and the only way to do that is to give me some square on h8. So he played the stunning move rook h7. Simply putting this rook on pre, and this way giving himself a flight square. It looks completely weird, but you need to do that, otherwise you'll get mated. It's just a matter of time. Of course, it's still losing for black, but this is by far the toughest defense. And really a stunning move, rook h7. It puts up the toughest defense, simply. Okay, what Moro did is play rook e1. This simply, it protects the rook, yeah, because queen a1 was threatened. So this protects the rook. And black really doesn't have much choice. He took on c6. if you do something else, let's say king to h8, white can take here and attack also this c5 bishop. It's too much. Note that white doesn't take the rook. It really would be bad to take it, because black then is in a way out of his entanglement. He can then move his pieces again, at least the pieces that he's got left. So you can take it, but you can take this rook all the time. You don't need to take it immediately. Yeah, black, as mentioned, took here. King h8 would have lost to queen e5. So bishop c6, queen c6, and bishop d4. Very logical, also getting some play on b2 here. And the critical squares are all covered by the queen, and this knight is covering e6. Okay, yeah, here is a moment where white still could have won, and I think this is probably the last spot where he could win. And this is with the prophylactic move, in a way, king d1. The idea being bishop here and then bishop f5. The idea is to also give this possibility, regrouping this this bishop. The amazing thing is, after bishop to c3, that white can continue king to e2, because bishop e1, queen c8 is actually winning, with the idea to reroute this bishop. There's no way black can do anything against, and also this move now really is a threat. So white is completely winning. These lines are really insane. I mean, playing this in a real game of chess between two human beings is certainly very, very difficult. So yeah, king d1 was a good move here. What Morozevich played is similar. He played king to d2, queen here, check, and queen check, king h8. Yeah, look, this rook is buried alive, and you cannot in any way secure it as black. It's simply funny, but it doesn't make much sense for white to take it also, because it would just help black to free up his pieces. Note that black has some counterplay. I mean, stuff like this is a threat. Need to take this into account. Yeah, this is what Morozevich played, king forward, getting out of this threat I just had shown. Yeah, black now played a5, queen a5, a3 check was an interesting alternative. And here's another critical position. It seems that the move that Morozevich played now is a mistake, but yeah, it's very, very difficult. It seems that the toughest try was f4 here, trying to undermine this bishop. It's quite funny. White is playing basically with the rook and the bishop up, or let's say a rook up. Yeah, these bishops are both into play, h3 and d4, but this is an extra rook in a way, because those pieces are not moving. It's simply great, but it's not at all clear. This king is also not great on d3, and black has got this counterplay with the a-pawn. So f4 is really, I think, a move to speed up here in the center and trying to get this bishop on d4, on yeah, to dislodge it from d4, that it doesn't have such a good post there. So f4 what would be good, but it's simply very, very tricky. The idea is on bishop to f2 that this is even a good move, and who is supposed to see that? The point is, if black takes, then you can take this, and note that there's a checkmate on g8. Yeah, and black is toast now. King takes, there's bishop f5 check, and knight takes, there's check on c8, winning. So this is just one idea. Black doesn't need to play bishop f2. There are other moves like queen c3. Let's put this on the board quickly. Queen c3, check. Takes, and bishop e4. And this should win the game, really. Black cannot take here. This is the problem, because this is even made next move, or in 2 moves. It's simply a prison for the king here, this this whole configuration. So f4 was close to winning also. So king d2 wasn't even too bad, sorry. This was still okay, probably. What he played was queen c8, which
check.
Now gives black some play. King to e4 and b3. Yeah, it simply needs to protect this this knight on f8. It's all hanging by a thread, this kind of position. White took, and now a4, also strong. Yeah, white now played rook b1, which is probably okay. If white would take, just to look at this for once, you can look at this in all, at basically all, in every position since move 27 for 9 moves already. This move was hanging, this rook was hanging, but in this concrete position, for example, if white would take, black would have interesting counterplay with this move, attacking this rook, and especially threatening discoveries. You couldn't take the rook with the queen because of queen f8, but you threaten the discoveries. And look at this position. It's really amazing. Black has a very, very dangerous counterplay with the pawn, and it's not obvious how white should win here. In fact, after rook c4, this will probably end in a draw by perpetual. So really insanely complicated. What white would play is rook b1, which is probably okay. Queen b4 was now played. Note that both players were in time trouble. It's almost goes without mention, because how would you play such a game and have time left? It's simply insane. What's here on the clock is of course bogus. It's just what the software is giving me, but I don't have the original times. Queen b4, and now queen to c4. Yeah, of course black cannot afford to exchange queens here. Need to get counterplay or give checks, but to be more exact, you need to give checks. So we've got a repetition here, and black now tries to set more problems. He played queen to d2 with this intention. For the moment, this knight is not attacked. And here it's move 40, the notorious move 40. Here Morozevich makes a mistake. The first, I mean, you can talk about mistakes if you don't win the game or don't find the winning move, but this is really a really costly move now, move 40. What he probably should do is play queen to c8, attacking the knight, and this seems to secure a draw. Queen e2 check, king to d5, queen b5. This is perpetual. Queen e4 and queen e2 check. This is what white should try now. What he played, but of course it's insanely difficult. He played bishop to g4, and this overlooked a strong move for black. This is a3, and this is move 40. He probably found this with the last seconds on the clock, and now black has got a very strong play with the a-pawn, and there's simply no mate. I mean, there's nothing that white can do at the moment. Let's see, he really tried everything to fight, but it's now really difficult. Queen f7, check. Queen c2 check, king up, no choice, check. And queen here always check. So this knight is defended again. King e4 and a2. The a-pawn really gets the honors here. Rook c1 and a1 queen. Rook c5, bishop c5. So this bishop now can cover. And white now is a knight and a rook down, and it's still not completely easy because this is not a real rook, right? It's still yeah, there for the taking, and also this knight cannot move. Let's advance a couple of moves. White played queen to d5.
Check.
Queen e1 check.
Check.
Got a couple of checks in. King to c4. And black exchange queens. So take a look at this position. Black is a rook up and a knight up. But is it so easy to win this position? This knight cannot move. I mean, it can, but I would just take it. And how do you get your rook out? On h7. This is also hanging on c5. And this is why Lagrave now played bishop a3, a very understandable move. In fact, here he had a better, an easier win with knight takes g6. This wasn't easy to see though. The idea is take here and then h5, which is a really remarkable idea, really, to free the rook. And this is probably winning. You need to assess this position here. And white still has some play with the b pawn, but black will be quick enough to get behind it, and then he has these pawns which will win against the bishop. So here knight takes g6 would have won a bit easier. He played bishop a3, and now very strong bishop f5. And yeah, how does black win now? If you look at this this position, let's continue. I can show you the idea in the game. Played king to g8, king e5, king d5. Oops, sorry. King e5, rook h8, and king d5. So take a look at this position. How should black get his pieces out? It's really funny. Just for example, if black would take now on g6, I would recapture king f8 and king e6, and this is simply a dead draw. It's completely a dead draw. What white will do now, I will just play king e6 to d7, and I can do this yeah, until I'm old and gray. I mean, it's it's simply a draw. It's a kind of fortress. Black cannot win. There's simply no idea even. It's funny that the computer still gives this +4 for black. It simply cannot see that this is dead, a dead draw. Yeah, computers still don't understand fortresses. So quite funny. Knight g6 is bad. So what should black do? He actually found a good way to play this. He needed to play this move. Need to put another piece on on h7, which is simply great. I love this game. Rook h7. It was hanging there for 20 moves, almost 24 moves, and now you need to put another piece on h7, and it's the only way to win this game. You need to do that. I mean, okay, you can do maybe one move later or something, but this is the winning idea. Everything else doesn't win.
Check.
Okay, white takes it. King here.
Check.
Check. And king f6. And in fact, this isn't completely easy, because look at this pawn. This kind of configuration, bishop on g6 and pawn on h7. How should black play that allows him to activate his own rook to somewhere else than the 8th rank? Because immediately if you go to a1 or somewhere else, then this pawn will promote. How would you cover this square? It's not at all easy. It's still a matter of good technique. The video is already pretty long, so I'll go through this. Vachier played this excellently. He found the way to do this, and this is Zugzwang. Let's advance a couple of moves. what black needs to do, he needs to, yeah, okay, first he
check,
got this pawn, and at the end it's Zugzwang. Need to, yeah, okay, you can move on the 8th rank as I mentioned. The problem is that at one point we see this, and this is also here. This is what I mentioned. This is a Zugzwang position. What should white do now? The problem is that he needed to play this move. You cannot avoid this move, as king to b7 loses 2. What was it? King to b7 loses 2. I don't have a note on this. This is funny. Ah, okay, it's bishop e5. Yeah. Now I understand it. Yeah, don't even need a note. Sometimes you can even find something yourself. The problem is now you will get into Zugzwang here as well. Rook b8 is coming. Rook b8 and king on the side. The problem is, if white moves the bishop, which he did now, and he didn't really have a choice as mentioned, then here black had the chance to, and he did play g5. And this is the important move. This bishop is now covering h8. White needs to take en passant. Very funny pawn formation. But now the bishop is the piece that controls those pawns, and you can move the rook freely. So a couple of moves were played, but this is now winning with king to e7 and rook b8 checkmate. Yeah, really an amazing game. I saw that the video now is about 50 minutes, and you could easily do 2 hours on that. Really fascinating game. I remember that in one of Germany's top chess magazines, this game had, of course, a title picture, title diagram, yeah, a board, yeah, a board with the position with the rook on h7, and this is what titled, "This is why we play. This is why we play chess." Yeah, and this is a pretty fitting title for this game. It's simply amazing to see that black's rook was hanging there for 24 moves on h7. And some amazing lines also in there. So great, yeah, compliments to both players for creating such an outstanding game. Very great, absolutely great defense with rook h7, and of course great attacking play. It just wasn't meant to be. It seems that Morozevich wins this game. He had quite a number of good opportunities, but didn't really find the finishing blow. It was winning for a long time, but at the end he fought it probably in time trouble with this bishop g4 move. Yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this game. It's certainly one of the most complicated games that I did up to now in this channel. I hope you yeah, didn't get too dizzy while watching this. Yeah, thanks, and I'll be back soon with new videos.